What piece of advice, what piece of insight could help you today? And the card that I pulled says, take time to breathe out. Take time to breathe out. I honestly couldn't have planned a better card, I think. And the message that came through for this card is, first, take time. Let's talk about that. Everything I'm telling you, in not just this class, but in any class going forward, when we're dealing with the inner world, when we're dealing with understanding ourselves, our emotions, our thoughts, our feelings, the stories we tell ourselves, the labels we place on ourselves, when we're first looking at this world, it could feel heavy, and it can feel overwhelming, and it can feel almost like, how could I ever gain power? How can I ever have power over my thoughts? How can I ever be able to control or manage my moods? How can I ever influence my feelings and the world around me that I'm creating? And the greatest advice is take time to breathe out. First of all, take time to just see it. Just see, just observe, just notice. And that's it. First step is to take time to put in the work, to take the time to do the things that you know you need to do, or take time to learn about the things you need to do. So then maybe your second step is to know you need to do them. But take it slow and take time, take your time. Take time to recognize what season of life you're in. Take time to recognize how you are able to handle this season of life. Is it something that you need a little more time and patience with yourself? Do you need to take things a little slower? Are you in a place of taking action, but maybe baby step action? Maybe you don't have the emotional stamina, the optimal mental health levels to move forward and progress toward your dreams at the rate that you think you should. Take time. And the second part of this card is to breathe out. And that really does go with take time, because when I think of take time, I think of slow down. That's what's coming through for me. Slow down to breathe out. And we forget to breathe so often, and it's because we're not slowing down. It's because we're trying to be 5, 10, 15 steps ahead. It's because we're trying to figure things out that we may not even have to go through. There might be shifts that happen before we get to that thing that we think we should be doing. We may change course. So many things can happen. There's so many possibilities. And rather than focusing forward on all of these things we think should be happening, or focusing our attention on all of the ways in the past that we should have done something, be in the present moment and breathe it out. Breathe out and relinquish your perception of control. Breathe out and stop expecting yourself to be any different than you are in this moment. Breathe out and release. And think about the breath as a cycle. You cannot release something that isn't there. So if you haven't inhaled, if you haven't filled your body with air, there is nothing to release. And until you exhale, you cannot inhale again. You can't take more until you've released something. Breathe it out. Take time. And that really makes so much sense with today's class, because today I'm going to be talking about the narrative self and the parts of us that aren't that comfortable. And before we jump to wanting to change it, before we leap to this area of, okay, well, I don't like this version of me, and this is ugly, and this is uncomfortable, and your shadow self, allowing your shadow to come through. If you don't stay in awareness of that shadow, and if you don't take the time to be with it, accept it, and love it before considering the changes you'd make in your life or implement in your life, then you're trying to inhale even more before you've exhaled. Okay, be patient with yourself, be compassionate, slow down, because there is no end goal to the self. You will continue to evolve. So take time to breathe it out.